Welcome back to more Chaos Head Noah. Where we left off, I was clicking this as if this was the title screen. It is the title screen, but we're continuing. We're loading, as one might say. We were at the beginning of Chapter 2. By that I mean we were at the end of Chapter 1. We had just discovered that Yua was doing some sleuthing, and she does not actually love us for no reason at all. Shockingly, I thought she was just crazy, but turns out she actually had a plan. I didn't even notice Sarah is in the back here. We're actually on his computer background, I think. That's the bit here. I noticed because of the, I don't know if this is latex, because I see this material all the time. I think it's latex. Not that I've ever touched latex. Like, I don't think I've owned anything like this, so I wouldn't know. And honestly, the more this is an interesting bit to start the video on. The more I see it, the more I think they're pulling tricks on me to get me to like latex and like the like skin tight look. I think it's working. The bodysuit look. I think I'm starting to enjoy it. Although I've always liked the arts where they're like, okay, this is, we're digging too deep. My title of the stream is a yearning gooner. I think it's pretty appropriate. Like, you know when they draw art of anime girls wearing the like bodysuit and they're like loosening it at the neck maybe, and there's like this as if there's steam coming out or sweat or something like that. That's some good shit right there. Anyway, let's start the game so that we can actually talk about what's going on. The Taiko World Cup is live. Apparently the notification that Twitch thinks I should click. Yeah, I'm not. As soon as they started to throw me for loops in Oz Taiko, I suck. But I'm actually pretty good at real Taiko. The keys really, they make me worse, to be honest. So maybe I should get like a physical thing. I've been considering getting one of those like physical drums, but the problem is I beat that shit so hard. That's not even out of context. I beat that, like, those drums on the arcades so hard. Because that's the fun. You want to feel the damn beat, and that's what I do. Anyway, vroom, quick, get on if you're going to a field trip. On the field trip, all aboard. Ship parts or whatever. Let's go. Lying face down on the floor, Nishijo Takubi held a colored pencil in his hand. There's a U, bro. This is American-ass translation. The one he was currently using was yellow. Now my accent's I'm putting it on purpose. The problem is, whenever I get conscious about how I sound, and then I change it, and then all of it's conscious. If you want my true accent, you need to get me tired, you need to get me emotional, you need to get me, I don't know what you need to get me. You need to impair me a little bit, and then I'll be unimpaired. You know? I was alone with my cat the other day, and I spoke to him, you know. I called him. I don't know if YouTube would demonetize, but it's not like I'm ever monetizing these videos. I may never monetize a video ever again if I don't get the requisite. This is my call to action. Subscribe! Because I need 1,000 subscribers for YouTube monetization. Not that these videos will ever get monetized because of the Chaos Head Noah copywriting systems. Which is fair, honestly. In an ideal world, we would have a revenue split when you stream a game like this to an audience, because streaming a visual novel or uploading let's plays of a visual novel is probably beyond a like the original view. Like, even though I personally would be like, obviously you want to play yourself because you're really ruining it if you don't. You should like, I can very much sympathize with this scenario of a visual novel developer or a company being like if you're gonna upload a YouTube video of our game, you know, upload the whole series, it's really gonna like there is some people that might just watch that instead of playing it. Rather than, I don't think the argument holds for most things, but for like pure stories, like, you know, if you buy a book and you just do like a audio book of it on your channel, I don't think that you should probably, there should be some sharing agreement. It should be like the split at least, because you are putting in some effort. But, you know, let's not get into, I don't know, labor rights of YouTubers, because as everyone knows, it's not a job or whatever. But I think that joke is long past. I think ironically, people are not respect. I don't think respect is the right word. People are starting to understand like the kind of influence that online creators unfortunately or fortunately have, for good and for bad or whatever. And it's less of a like respect thing, and I don't think it's not something that by itself deserves respect, which I don't think very many professions, to be honest, by themselves deserve respect. So it's not like it's any different to most jobs. But anyway, I'm getting into a very unrelated conversation, which is kind of the point. If you were watching this channel for just me reading out word for word what's on my screen, you'll be a little disappointed, not crazy disappointed, but you'll be like, why is he talking about some shit? Buddy, it's my channel. Anyway, he held a colored yes. The one he was currently using was yellow, having switched from a red one only a few minutes ago. Necessary commentary. He joyously ran his pencil across a spread out sketchbook, which he was nearly lying on top of. He kind of is lying on top of it. This shit, your elbow, when you get up, your elbows are gonna be kind of sore. But I guess maybe when you're that young, you don't even notice it. I remember one of the very few actual injuries I've ever had, and it's barely an injury. I don't get hurt pretty much ever, apart from like it's, you know, virus type thing. But I'm saying like physical injury. I scraped the fuck out of like the base of one of my nails, like on my hand, to the point where it was like, oh, it was nothing really terrible, but it was, oh, I'm mixing two stories actually. I can tell you both of them though. So one time I did that, which I think I did notice, and another time I did like a knee slide or whatever on gravel / concrete at some point, and I was still just running around having a fun time. And then I went back to my parents as a kid, you know, just for whatever reason to like talk or whatever, and then they were like, you know, are you like, what's going on? Are you okay? I looked down and it was just like, it was all fucked up. And as soon as I looked at it, my brain was like, oh, you're supposed to feel hurt by that, and so it started hurting like hell at that point, but not before. So that was, those two are the closest I've ever been to really injuring myself. But I'm really, you know, never broken a bone, probably never going to break a bone until it becomes one of those circumstances of age or an intervening event really shows up in my life, which is not a good thing to be putting in my like monkey's paw book. Takumi loved drawing pictures. He would always doodle on the edges of his notes during every lesson at school. I would draw little faces, but I wouldn't necessarily go this far, because I think this is another thing. I keep getting into tangents right now, but you know what? It's fine. I would be drawing, like, I feel like I could be better at drawing than I am right now. But the thing is, I'm terrible at putting in consistent effort and dedication towards holding a craft. The only things I've managed to, like, you know, do it for is, like, some games, and even then, my regimented, like, you know, even in CS, for instance, the rate at which I'm technically improving is much slower than it would be if I had done what I had set out to do multiple times and failed to stick to, which is, like, regimented practice plans, aim prac, util knowledge, like, my smoke knowledge is all, everything but Mirage, and, I don't know, a couple of ancient smokes maybe. I don't remember. But Mirage smokes, like, I've played so much Mirage. There's not in my lifetime will I forget stairs, jungle, CT, you know, B window. I know mid window, but I'm not gonna be able to do it 100% because that one is variable. You know, it's difficult. Let's not just an obvious lineup. Anyway. Morning news had been left running in the background, but he didn't give a shit, because why would he? 300 yen candy. Okay, he was drawing a yellow bus and pretending he was the driver. Does Japan have yellow buses? Some of our buses are yellow, I think, but not most of them. All ashore that's going ashore. We're heading out. He's mixing his metaphors. As he imagined the scene in his head, he made it actually happen in the picture. Okay, we're getting like a backstory of his delusions. But for once, it was just a youthful relaxation. Also, the line should be, you know what, if it's slanted like that, then I guess it makes sense that he just drew on the damn floor, the damn, what is it, tatami mat. Times where we get too excited and accidentally drawing the tatami beneath him were not exactly infrequent. I just mentioned it, they talked about it. Nanami, who would always read manga beside him, would scold him each time he did it. How much younger he's in 4th grade, which would make him 10 maybe, and then she's in the year below him, so I guess it's only 1 year difference thereabouts, so. She had some nerve, considering she was a little sister, usually saying things along the lines of, oh, come on, don't get the floor all dirty. Even so, Takumi never became any less immersed in his art. True artiste. However, when he got to the point drawing the people in the window, his hand suddenly stopped. Can't draw faces, or is it like a compulsion thing, or has he got trauma, or what's the deal here? Now, what's the problem? Then he ripped up the sketchbook and threw it away. Oh no. His innocence. On the previous day. On the day when the autumn field trip had only been one more day away. Takumi had suddenly been told by his parents that he couldn't go. Why? Even though it had been something he had been looking forward to for a very long time, so much so that he had been in a constant state of excitement for the entire day. Okay, he's drawing it in like a FOMO sense. Waiting the next to arrive as soon as possible, wanting. That cool declaration from his parents was something that Takumi absolutely could not accept. Oh shit. He cheeked and screamed, saying he would definitely go no matter what, but it was no use. Okay. His parents would not listen no matter what he said. You just can't. We're doing this for you, Takumi. What the fuck happened, bro? Takumi sank into his bed and trembled with so much frustration. It was very close to ripping his... See, this one is... The futon is now an English, like, loan word situation, so... Saying futon doesn't really make sense anyway. He resented his parents to the bottom of his heart. With Takumi, that field trip had been a big, big event that could not have come soon enough. Why was he not allowed? Are we ever gonna know, or is that like, is it a plot point, or is it just a forever unknown? I hope we get to know. Everyone else in his class could go, but he alone was not allowed to. From his perspective, that was beyond unreasonable. He doesn't seem to be holding like a concrete judge for that, at least in the first chapter, although maybe it's one of those resentment building things. Takumi was in a lonely world. Everyone else was in a super fun world. Hold on, I gotta double check at this point whether I've actually... Is everything working? Okay, everything is working just fine. Paranoia. Every so often you get a stream or a recording that something is just busted and you have to remind yourself like, okay, we gotta make sure all the meters, audio meters work, you know, just to, at least you do it 10 minutes in, not 1 hour in. To him, it felt like he alone had been completely cut off from it. He could not forgive the teacher, his classmates, anyone. They'd all left him behind. Well, they didn't do anything. It was like it was his parents that didn't let him do it, for now at least. He especially could not forgive his parents for their sudden unfair decision. Okay, those feelings transformed into pure hatred towards his parents, towards all of... Hold on, click that one too quickly. Toward all of his classmates. Takumi bit his lip hard enough to draw blood. He muttered curses at them over and over. Okay, unless there was a reason for this, his parents just fucked him for life, bro. They accidentally flipped, like... They did the damn world line change on him. I don't think anyone should be allowed to go. Nomi should die type shit. Yeah. The following morning arrived. The phone had been ringing over and over again since dawn. Okay, is it like a death in the family situation? It seems like it, maybe. Each time his mother would pick up the phone, she seemed to be very shaken while talking. Takumi could not get even a wink of sleep. The clock passed 9 a.m. In a usual well-behaved manner, Nanami was sitting on a floor cushion, reading manga. She had told Takumi the day before, I want to take a break from school to keep you company, KO shit, as if it was she thought it was the obvious thing for her to do. The father had already gone to work, so was not around. The mother was very busy with the phone call. I keep just clicking shit, I'm so sorry. And had yet to prepare breakfast. There was no need for him to go to school that day. Sullen as he was, Takumi opened his sketchbook and began drawing to distract himself. His feelings of rage refused to subside, so he tore up the sketchbook in frustration. As he did that, however... Konobasu. Oh shit. Oh wait, is it like a... Is the power of precognition something that's being passed down? Holy shit. They saved his life by not letting him go. And then she was like... Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, never mind. But that raises more questions than it answers, I think. Nanami sounded puzzled. Takuma thought she was talking about his picture, but her gaze was actually aimed at the TV. Is this like a... Kyotaro Kakei situation? From... Kakei Kyotaro, maybe, I think it would be appropriate. From Naito Shakan, which is, I think, underrated. I gotta go back to finishing all the full routes. I don't know why the system of having... They have like a first route, and then they have like an extended route where you, after learning the truth, you reject... Oh god, I'm forgetting her name. Big-titted librarian. Very cute. Short stack type situation. A lot of good... Pretty much every girl in that I like. Some good voice work. And bits. Nanami called out loudly to her mother, who was still busy with the phone calls. Now listening, Takumi followed his sister's gaze and stared vacantly at the TV screen. Collapsed elevated highway. Regrettably, bus was caught up in the collapse. I mean, yeah. The very same bus that Takumi should have been on. The bus his classmates were riding on. He could imagine exactly what had happened. His classmates were on the screen. They were all fucked up like. Sobbing, blood all across their forehead, and lying atop a stretcher. Could you Is that... I haven't watched like news reports of live incidents in like a regional sense. Maybe in a long time. Would you normally have that kind of just on mainline TV? Just be like, yeah, these kids are like all fucked up and being carried away in stretchers. I feel like I don't know if they would put that straight on the air. The reporter was announcing to say the accident with a grave look on their face, but Takumi did not really understand what they were talking about. His mother was standing at the entrance to the room holding a cordless phone. Her face was pale.
それ、今テレビでやってる。それで、斉藤先生が
died. For some reason, Takumi was already sure of this. Everything happened. Oh shit! Never mind. It's not precognition. He literally imagined it to be reality. Okay, well that. Let's read on. Everything happening on the TV was eerily similar to what he had pictured in his head the night before when he had been overwhelmed by frustration and hatred. Does he not know that he has these powers? I think the implication from the last chapter is that he doesn't really. There was... Okay, never mind. But he doesn't seem to have let us know that for the first chapter, for sure. There was only one feeling that occupied the depths of his mind, a peculiar conviction. We were sure that he had precognitive abilities. But long ago, a show on TV that examined people claimed to have ESP had been etched into Takumi's mind. Based on precognitive abilities that appeared on the show, shocked the world by demonstrating frightening ESP in the experiment. The experiment verified whether or not the psychic could guess which of 12 items was placed inside which numbered box. Okay, pick a card, any card. Yeah. 90% correct. I mean, you can do this kind of thing with like psychic analysis, but not psychic analysis. I'm saying some. That's not what I mean to say, but it's kind of what I mean to say. I mean, like, this is something that you could do without the in-universe magical explanation, I have to assume. He got every single one correct, but he didn't tell anyone about this. Okay. He believed that the accident was yet another instance of his precognitive prediction to be exactly... I mean, it could. So that's the thing. I don't know whether that's the case yet, or whether it's because the tagline of the visual novel, excuse me, leads me to believe that it would be something related to him being able to change the reality of this world by putting delusions. Like what he imagines happens. So, but is it the case that what he imagines happens, or is it the case that he imagines what will happen? That's actually, and could you ever know the difference, really? If you can't control it, you don't know the difference, I guess. If you can control it, then you can rewrite the world. Rewrite mentioned. Oh yes, I do have some good news. I engaged in like an extreme spending spree in this discount period right now. There's Steam discounts and some Just also has some discounts, and I've paid off with interest every single visual novel that I've ever in brackets acquired. So all of Higurashi and Umineko I have on my Steam list. The Mavlove, technically trilogy, but it's 2 games obviously. Subahibi, what else? The Grisaya series, including the one I haven't even played yet. Pretty much every key that I'm going to play, or like historically, like Air, Canon, Clannad, Rewrites, Little Busters. What else? I bought the remasters of Fate. Incredibly cheap for like the kind of quality there are. But I'm probably gonna play the OG Hollow Ataraxia, because that's what I started a long time ago. I never really finished it, and I think there's no reason for me to not play the OG. I'm that kind of guy. It's not posing if you just do it. That's the secret that people don't tell you. Is that like, if you get criticized, if you feel like you're pretending, just do it, and then you won't be pretending. Secrets they don't tell you. Anyway, but the only problem is because most of these are already on my hard drive. So I needed like trick Steam by putting it there and being like, it was here the whole time. But there's obviously no button on Steam that's like, your game that you have on your library is actually specifically installed in this folder that's not in your Steam app comments. But that does mean that a lot of the stuff that was in that, I have like a visual novel folder, a lot of the stuff that's been downloaded to there is gonna have to get moved to my Steam stuff, just so it makes sense. But it will make it easier to organize. Unfortunately, the hours are going to be in the visual novel, but you're never going to see it on Steam. But I do like it. It's good to have them at least. in some way, shape, or form. I downloaded some what was it? Son of a Witch, Sabbath of the Witch is how they put it in English. Obviously, the bit was different in the katakana, I think. But that and Senran Kamba, I think, on Just, which I think both of those seem very cute and funny, no pun intended. So I'll play those probably on my own time. Maybe I have to imagine. Or if I do it, it'll have to be a recording because they've got Sexo. So I'm gonna have to do either censoring or editing out. But, you know, I don't think YouTube would also take it very kindly because let's just say the sex scenes have a utility. They're not just for show, you know. To me at least, I feel like to honor a sex scene in a visual novel, you know, and if I like it, there's no reason not to utilize the resources available to me. I'm trying not to say exactly what I would do to it, but you can imagine. So, and I don't think YouTube would really appreciate that. So generally, I've been very close to getting like an RPlay account. But they do like audio RP. I don't know if they do video. I think they do video nowadays. But it's a lot of VTuber. But they have, like, I don't know if they'll appreciate me doing it there, but also then, like, the logical conclusion to that bit is, like, no safe for work content, and I don't know if I'm, you know, that's the kind of thing where you really have to be all in, and certainly I'm not in a position in my life where I could do that freely. But at some point, let's just say if life goes my way, that's the kind of thing I would be interested in doing at some point. Just me and the, you know, if you've ever seen the classic, I don't know if it was a Vine or not, are you seriously watching porn by yourself? No, I'm with my boys. That's the future for me. Anyway. Nante koto. His mother tried hugging him as he lay down, but Takumi avoided her grasp and crawled to the corner of the room. Her eyes swam about as she whispered in a hollow voice. Now, it would make a lot of sense that it was precognition and not delusions into reality if both of them remembered it, and it's some sort of hereditary power that Nanamichi doesn't have. Or is it like they had a weaker power? She just imagined don't send him, and he imagined the entire thing. He's got like the stronger version. Takumi felt sick. They were useless, he thought to himself. His abilities had not made a single difference. Just thinking about it made his heart turn to ice in an instant. Well, he's not really done much of he's kind of, I think it's like a running from it situation, right? Is that like that might be the overarching theme of this visual novel, like whether he runs from it or whether he like tries to actually do something with it, or I don't know. After that, Takumi had stopped speaking to others for a while. He quite literally went mute. Okay. His parents worried about him, and their already overprotective habits escalated even further. That makes... Okay, so that's like how did I... You know, Pause's record scratch, you're probably wondering. Finding them to be acting more and more ridiculous, Takumi thus decided to play the role of a mute boy. Kind of as revenge against them. Due to his complete lack of talking, his mother took him to be seen in the I keep thinking to say psychiatry ward of the general hospital. And there he was diagnosed with PTSD. He didn't do anything, but he still got... I guess he can have it, because he kind of imagined it, right? Since Takumi did not actually have PTSD or anything of the sort, he never once took his medicine. He merely pretended to. You can't really do all that, but sure. His parents never realized he was acting, and in the end, he didn't even feel even a hint of pity as they worried themselves sick over him. Piano ends. Does he usually play the game on his off monitor? I thought he usually played it here. Maybe I'm mistaken. Everything feels like a lie. The world was filled with falsities. I love that kind of word. It was overflowing with malice. It was out to get me. We're going back to what we had at the end of the last chapter.
わかるはずです。
Yeah, and she knows that he has precognitive powers,
それと
or estimates that that's the case.
私が言ったことは全部本心です。これだけは信じて。
Oh yeah, and the part that I was very confused about that we haven't resolved yet is that she alleges that he was talking to himself in the past and future type of thing. That his conversation with Shogun and his conversation like in the net cafe was him talking to himself at different points in time or whatever. I don't know how that's even possible. I don't think there's actually a time travel in this game. That's a Steins Gate type shit situation, but after bombarding me with nonsensical theories, you had said that one last thing before she'd left. There's no way I could believe her. How the hell was that supposed to be someone that had been lying to me this entire time? I refused to believe that everything there was me, like Yua had said. Everything she said about me being Shogun was a total joke. I wanted to believe that. But when I checked that part, I noticed it before they even said it, when they showed us the image, that the timestamps weren't matching up. Ero.jpg. Can we open Ero.jpg?
無遊病なの。
無遊病. Well, byo is sickness. Muyu, I don't know. Maybe it's two combination kanjis. I don't know what the etymology of it is. Let's not pretend. Problem was, during the time Shogun appeared to be posting in chat, I hadn't been sleeping at all. If I recall correctly, I had indeed been at that cafe at that time, but I hadn't slept, so I couldn't have been sleepwalking. We were literally there. In that case, I wondered why I didn't have any memories of posting as Shogun. Shogun. まあなんかこれ N の日本語の N はちょっと How do you say pronouncing in Japanese? I used to know this. 言い方ちょっとこの文字言うのはちょっと難しいかも。まあ頑張らないといけない。No, that's ridiculous. I'm gaming right now. Chill on me. Exactly, the fictional world. Escaping into a fictional world, huh? That's the real bit. Oh yeah, I saw a review, another thing unrelated to this. Anyway, Nia said everything was fake a lie. At the end of the day, its world was just part of a video game. Sound familiar? I saw a review of someone posted like a blogspot. I haven't been on blogspot in maybe like literally over a decade. Review of Deltarune and a bit of Undertale, which while it was a little like it went a bit aggro on like tonally, which is fine because I think like if you're gonna be honest, you should be honest. I think it was a very fun read, to be honest with you. Obviously, the Deltarune Undertale Toby Fox fandom hole is not gonna be able to pass the being able to read somebody's like impassioned writing and engage with it on its own merits and critically, rather than not being able to read past them like insulting Toby Fox's ability. When like I saw literally nobody in the entire like comments of the article, even people praising it, which I guess is like they were sort of implicitly doing this, so it maybe doesn't count there, but nobody was talking about how like the author of that it was incredibly long, so maybe that's a part of it that people just can't read anymore. But they just glossed over the fact that there was a lot of praising of Toby Fox in there. Not a lot, but some level. They talked about how like Toby was very good at making like the breaking the bounds of the game type of thing. I don't know how, I forget the exact wording, but the idea of like, you know, when you're at the limits or the edge of the game and you're playing with the form is what I always call it, playing with the form. That kind of idea. Same thing that happened at the end of Danganronpa 2, which despite the fact that I think it's the worst of the three, I think it's that part is what made me really love it as soon as it happened, and then, you know, the high wore off and I was like, this shit's kind of like, it didn't need to have 20 hours of bullshit trials before this point. I mean, most of them are bullshit. One or two of them was okay. Compared to 1 and 3, where 3 has one terrible, no good, very bad trial, and the rest are very nice. And the overarching commentary, and you know how it discusses the, you know, very Fate Stay Night, the fake can beat the real type situation. There's lots to extract from there that I think people can dig into. And then the first game is like Portal 1 in that, raw mystery sense, I think. And I don't think it's demeaned really by the existence of 3 at all, which I thought might be the case at some points. Anyway. But I found myself agreeing with a lot of criticisms of Deltarune, and even a little bit Undertale, but I think Undertale, like, it doesn't have that same thing. And I think, like, if you're criticizing the humor of Undertale, I don't think it works. To be honest with you, I think Undertale's humor is like a nice little time capsule type thing, but releasing Deltarune, I mean, in a sense it is a time capsule because that shit must have been written in many ways like a decade ago and is now just seeing the light of day because of whatever work schedule Toby Fox is doing. The chapter rollout also is down. It's just definitely a detriment to the overall experiences of the game. Chapter 3 was kind of a waste of time. And, like, I found, personally, when I played Deltarune, right? In the lead up to chapter 3 and 4 releasing, I played, when I bought it on Steam, I played the 1 and 2 again, just to get myself, like, as if it was a continuous experience. And the sad thing is, I think I'm probably, the newer chapters come out, odds are I may have to either do that or watch, like, a recap, because this shit's taken so long. But, my point being that I think when I played it, I was like, this is decent. There are elements of this which I like a lot. I think I like the sort of Gus and Susie bit a little bit here and there, but 2 things are true, and this one thing was true for me, and the second thing I think was elucidated for me is that, number one, if you didn't play Undertale or enjoy, like, the majority, or at least half of Deltarune's, like, parts that people enjoy, including me, is really leaning on Undertale. It leans on it so much so, and relies so much on you to make up the between, that it's almost like it gets to a point, I think. And it also so heavily relies on, like, the fandom / meta outside of the game aspect, which I think is fine a little bit in the modern landscape of, like, entertainment and media, cross-media stuff. If you basically just ignore anything that Toby Fox ever, like, says, of which he doesn't say much, and you just sort of literally consume everything that exists in any adjacent form of the game, then it makes the game way better. But also, like, there's no way I was gonna read those newsletters. There's no way, like, that's too much for me. That's where Undertale, you really didn't need any of the extraneous materials to get everything you want out of the game, and file logging and fun events were pretty much just like, that was the window into something that could have been, and that was where theories were. And I think the elements of, like, if I can summarize it into a pithy comment that rings true, I think Toby or whoever made this decision, because there's more people working on it now, I think, even though it's mostly him, you saw the value of the theorizing and the how many people got so interested in the fun events and the Gaster storyline and a lot of these sort of unexplained / hinted at aspects of the stories in Undertale, and thought, the value out of that I can expand to the point where even the main part of the Deltarune storyline makes no sense to you right now if you don't have people, if you don't watch a 40-minute minimum video essay on who Des is, you're really going to be left dry with the enjoyment of the end of chapter 3. Like, deadass, if you don't know who Des is, which I didn't until, like, way after I finished the whole chapters and everything, and had to go back and, watch videos and all that stuff, you'll just be like, okay, the knight showed up. That's cool. The knight was kind of relevant to the whole scheme of things. And then the knight kind of fights you and does nothing. Lot of interesting decisions and all that. But I think the humor criticisms is like a matter of opinion and perspective. But I'm talking about a bunch of other shit anyway. In Baystar, I could become the godlike existence known as Nightheart. Oh yes, back to the Chaos Head. Noah. Chaos Head? I knew it was good, I wouldn't call it that good. Fabrication like that, a lie like that, was something I'd readily accept. I wanted to stay there. Nobody would mind if I did, would they? You gotta delusion yourself into there, and then the world will change forever. Or maybe. The world of ESO was actually the real world of my own reality, was the fake one. Just a game. In that case, Nichijou Takumi would be a fictional character, and Nightheart would be my true final form. Final Fantasy.
ねえナイトハルト
Did they only animate this one, like, fake game portion? Am I controlling you, or are you controlling me? Which is it? Could you be real and I a mere avatar? What if the world I was in was just a game in and of itself? I got news for you, buddy. That would solve every mystery I was struggling with. What if, just like how I was staring at Naha with them embodied, or what if someone was staring at me in the exact same way? Look at me. Sonome. Finish the line. That would make them the player controlling me. Unfortunately, I'm not really controlling you. It's more of like a little pivot situation. If I did have someone controlling me, would it kill them to do less of a shit job? I guess an avatar couldn't really complain. It would also explain how Shogun and I could be the same person, validating that theory. I was not involved. I'm gonna exonerate myself. I did not do all that. All that is not beyond me. It is beyond me. It was also not beyond me. It's kind of like what Lizalette was. Nightheart and Lizalette couldn't possibly exist in Bayside at the same time. I was the only one playing as them after all. Well, someone else could have your passwords, but... Maybe Shogun and Nishijou Takumi were similar and they also couldn't exist in the world at the same time. Is his alternate form that girl that killed people? And he met himself? It could be a bug. Speaking of bugs, that bizarre guy murder case, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that could happen, could have been bugs too. Now we're getting into Doki Doki territory. Oh shit, don't do that real quick like, bro. The image Shogun had sent to me flashed through my mind. I gripped my head with my hands. I feel like it's something's weird about this, but I don't know why. And frantically shook it away, like the sentence formation. I wanted to run away from everything. If maybe, just maybe, there was a plague. Oh, give me a choice, give me a delusion, give me something. Please reset me already. What happened if you? I assume nothing, because that's not the kind of game this is. But if you started from the beginning now, would you get something else? I also wonder how many of the choices I made up until this point have changed what he says here. I don't know what the route systems look like yet. Ah, Tokyo. Very detailed background CGs. I wonder if some of these are taken from the anime, but it doesn't. Maybe some of these... Maybe that's not the case, maybe that is the case. But I do know that the patch does revamp some of this stuff. I'm not sure how much of the details are. I think it's decent. That guy looks chill as fuck, bro. The waiting room of the university hospital was filled to the brim with middle-aged people waiting to be examined. Why middle-aged, though? I feel like the university demographic, maybe it is middle-aged, but maybe that middle-aged demographic is just the people who visit the university hospital. Or maybe I'm misunderstanding it, it's just like a university-sponsored hospital, and the hospital is normal. Like, it's just for everyone, you know? Everyone in there looked miserable, and the smell of disinfectant pervaded the stagnant air. I feel this. It was the kind of place that sucked all the life out of you and made you wish for the sweet embrace of death in 5 minutes tops. That's one thing that, like, through various circumstances, I ended up spending quite a bit of time, like, in and around hospitals and, like, wards and stuff younger. And the smell of, like, the cloying, not quite cloying, because that implies, like, a different kind of thing. It's kind of like a sharp and pervading, very right word to describe it, smell of, like, that pink-purple disinfectant. Like, it's a weird... I don't necessarily dislike it. It's just, it's something that I can't leave behind in, like, a memory sense. It's very, very, like, poignant. I didn't like hospitals. Part of me neither, but, you know. The way the lobbies had countless people, yet the corridors beyond felt completely devoid of them, had always freaked me out ever since I was a little kid. I don't know what... Is someone dying? In the background? What the hell was that? I don't know what hospitals this guy is going to, bro. There are people in the damn corridors. Usually professionals. It almost felt like the corridor... It depends on what floor you're on, I guess. It almost felt like the corridors themselves absorbed and stewed in the stench of death. I always felt like that was what a hospital truly represented beyond its outer facade. They'd put the damn Be it on the sea on that one. Chill. I even thought that some horrifying creature was lying in wait deep within the corridors. That was why I really didn't want to go there, but there was something I had to make sure of no matter what. So I found myself reluctantly waiting my turn in life for an examination. I haven't been for like a quote-unquote examination or I almost said regular check-up in a long time. Nothing's really been wrong with me, but, you know. See, is there someone having like a heart attack periodically in the BGM ambience? What's going on there? Even when I tried to fully immerse myself in ESO, the bombs show that you were head doctor may continue to swirl around and around in some head, and I hadn't been able to concentrate for even a second. Is he like a split personality evaluation? What's going on here? As a result, my mind had been torturing me with all the various possibilities all the way until morning, and I'd become genuinely scared that something was wrong with me. Yes, an official stamp of approval from a medical professional that said you were normal. Isn't that what we all yearn for? Grill. I wonder what the original is. Also, I haven't seen somebody use grill to talk about girls in a long time. Is this your first time? I nodded without thinking. Yeah. My mom already taken me here for checkups. My physician had said that I'd completely recovered, and I stopped going after that. Oh shit. What is this? What am I saying yes or no to? Can I get like some context? Why is there a member of the Men in Black behind these guys? And why does this guy kind of look like Beetlejuice? You know what? Well, first of all, we have to save, obviously. We save at every crossroads. That's how I work. I wonder, for once, I'm gonna click no. Because I don't know what no does, and this doesn't seem like something. I wonder if it just like doesn't do it. That would be lame, so I must do something. So let's see what no does. Because I've only ever clicked the green button, and this is also not a like imagining horniness situation. I have to imagine. So maybe we want to say like don't think about the traumatic events that have transpired. Despite calling himself the other guy student, he had been particularly young. To be honest, he looked pretty old. You can be old and be a student. The night before, I was reminded of something that Dr. Takashina had said.
ここは病気や怪我だけじゃなくて心にも効く病院なんだよ
In your heart. I hated hospitals, but that doctor had been very nice. He'd left a good impression on me, and I thought he was a good person. Are we rejecting the medical system with this? Is this like anti-vax Takumi? Well, even then, I'd still thoroughly fooled all the adults to the very end. That is, except Dr. Takashina. He'd seen through it all, and he was the one that had declared me completely recovered. He's like, you fooling. You tricking us.
あの人に調べてもらえれば。
Okay, if that's the case, then I kind of want to click yes. If he's our ally, I want to support. I want to get a true answer then. I wondered what he'd say if he learned that I'd become an otaku freak. Kimo ota. Nah, there was no way to remember after all this time. Obviously, he would remember you, bro. Okay, I changed my mind after hearing every line. We have taken the delusion pill. Didn't take long for me to be called into an examination room. I'd expected to be waiting there for quite a while, but I guess I was wrong. Is this like reading Steiner's predecessor? In effect, I guess it is. But I'm wondering, like, I think there is some in-universe ties here and there. I know Daro appears in one of the sequels to this, I think, or in like a side story, just as a hello. Why have there been so many people in the lobby then? Maybe they were being paid to sit there just to make it look busy. So true. It was a different examination room than the one from 4 years ago, but when I stepped inside, I was welcomed with a face I remember dearly. But we're still in delusion mode, right?
いやー西条くん
It was only 4 years. There's no reason he should look that much older. I guess the other one was a CG and this is a sprite, though. Dr. Takashina rose to his feet with a familiar smile. He was searching for a handshake and I
また
hurriedly
君に会えて
reciprocated.
嬉しいよいや嬉しいという
Yeah, I
の
was
は
gonna say.
変かな
It's like, I'm happy to see you is kind of interesting, like, as a doctor, can you be happy to see someone? But I guess you should be, like, in a sense, you should be happy to see someone, because if they're coming in to solve a problem in their life, it's a good thing that they've sort that out, in a sense, right? You have to imagine that that's the case, at least.
君にしてみればまたここに来るというのは辛いことなわけだからね。
Yeah, but the time would keep being hard if he didn't come in here, right? That's the point of it. Despite it being 4 years since we'd last seen each other, he was incredibly friendly. My slight nervousness that I've been struggling with was eased in seconds.
それで今日はどうしたんだい？
He gestured for me to sit down, and so he did. I did. We did. Maybe he's also sitting down. Due to all the tension melting away, I told him everything, including the future. I stumbled over my words, but Dr. Takashi didn't rush me. He listened to me while from occasional interjections. I told him everything about you and the demon girl. He's the only person I can trust in this delusion slash reality slash I don't know what it is yet. I think it's reality. I think it's delusional reality. Or at least it's affecting reality. I got a lot of questions about all that. We're still warp-worlding, so.
結論から先に言おうか。
Let's start with the conclusion. You're evil. He pondered.
君は正常だよ。
Okay, I don't know about that.
何の問題もない。
本当ですか？
I have my doubts.
もちろん。
Those with words I wanted to hear more than anything. Well, can I get an explanation? I guess if it's all normal, then these are events that really did happen, and I guess the explanation is that, like, some fuck shit's going on. But then, okay, how can you square the circle on this one, buddy? I dragged myself to the hospital for the sole purpose of hearing them. Or is he delusion? In this delusion, he's imagining what he wants to imagine, which is, I guess, in the same pattern. Maybe I think the pattern overall is, like, he's imagining what he wants to imagine, and then is no, like, him imagining, like, if I click no, would we go in and then he would say, like, you've got 20 billion illnesses? Or would it just reject imagining altogether? I have to imagine it would reject, it would do the like, inverse delusion, and that not clicking any option would be the straight option. But would that have to, again, because of the game, because of what the game told me at the beginning about how decisions work, I don't know, that might not be the case. Anyway, I was scared that he'd tell me that there was something wrong with me, and I had no idea what I would have done if he had, but getting checked out by Dr. Takashi had been the right choice after all.
むしろおかしいのはその楠木さんという女性だね。
Yeah, and this is obviously like he's literally coping, I think.
西条くんの話だけで判断するのは難しい
No,
が。
I don't think a doctor would do
お
all
そら
that.
くその
At
女
least not in the
性は
clinic.
精神的な障害を患っているだろう。今後君に危険を及ぼすような行動に出る可能性がある。すぐに警察に通報しよう。
え？
The police? True, that was probably the safest option. He was right, there had to be something wrong with you. She was batshit insane. She kind of is a bit crazy, I will say that much, though. Sent shivers down my spine. If she
僕
stalks
も
me.
責任を持って
Or the thought of
君
her
を保
stalking
護
me.
するつもりだ。
I mean, I don't think he can do all that, no disrespect. He's just a doctor. He even had me his business card, complete with his phone number.
何か問題が起きたらいつでも連絡をくれて構わないよ。
Why does this guy sound like... He kind of sounds like Dr. Leskinen. I've been watching somebody play through Stanza Gate Zero just to nostalgia bait myself.
24時間いつでも君のところに飛んでいくからね。
Yeah, obviously he's like, this is peak delusion. Medical system working like that. Come on, buddy.
いいんですか？
当たり前だよ。僕は君の主治医なんだから。
It's not how it works, but I was on the verge of tears. I was truly grateful to be under his care from the bottom of my heart. Doctors as good as him were hard to find nowadays. At least this did happen, like, really in the past. He did get treated, like, maybe that's what prevents him from literally just being super crazy, although, I don't know, it's not working so far.
悪魔女のことについても通報した方が良さそうだね。西条くん、君の見たその女がニュージェネの真犯人で間違いないよ。これはものすごい目撃証言だ。
I have a bad feeling that we are the true culprit, but that may be like the two obvious conclusion that they're not, that, like, making it is, it's in itself, like, they're baiting you to it.
事件は
He spoke
西条
calmly,
く
but
ん
you
のおかげ
couldn't,
で解決だ。
he could not tell from his tone. I've reversed the sentence disorder, but he was excited.
君は渋谷のヒーローだよ。
Now you're laying it on a bit too thick. Listen, you imagine women in swimsuits and wearing revealing, no underwear and a shirt that just didn't show the parts that would get me banned of Twitch. But you didn't go further than that. I feel this is the most gratuitous vision that you've seen yet, man.
僕はこの瞬間に立ち会えて実に
Nah,
光栄に思う。
he glazing like crazy. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about himself. Talk to me, what are you thinking about? Really? They're gonna do this? I was a hero? This wasn't ESL? There was no way someone like me could be a hero? No way in hell. Okay, this is like what happened at the end of every delusion. He's going too far and it no longer is congruent, so he stops, right? My face just about broke into a grin. Middle school girls, high school girls, college girls, MILFs, all of them will be screaming my name and how much they love me. Wouldn't you not like that much? I'll be renowned all over the world as one of the most charismatic people to ever live. Being a TV celebrity sounded cool and all, but I don't want to appear in front of people, so I create a startup company instead. The dream, the American dream in Japan. I become a hugely charismatic boss, harem of beautiful secretaries, and I trip all their flags. Hire as apartment in Roppongi, which I've heard of before from, forget which, something, tell me, there's something else reference Roppongi. I think it may have been Jujutsu Kaisen, to be honest with you. I'd hire a bunch of cute maids, I'd be indulging in the endless depression in night services. Why is he kidding about that part? Of course, he's not.
まさに勝ち組。
As if. I abruptly came to my senses only to find myself sitting on a sofa in the lobby. Unable to grasp what exactly was going on, I frantically looked around the room. Beside me was a hunched over old lady. Waiting for a full hour. Seems about right to me. He's not. I mean, listen. If you're proportionate your healthcare system efficiently, this makes sense. He's in literally no danger. He should be waiting. You know. Had I dozed off while waiting? How glorious it would be if that dream was actually real. Talk about disappointing. Is the doctor actually even there? I bet he's not, right? I found myself waiting for another 2 hours before my name was finally called. 3-hour wait for a non-urgent, like, consultation. It may be a bit much, maybe not. When I entered the examination room, it almost felt the same events I seen that dream were happening again. Dr. Takashina even appeared almost exactly like he had in the dream. And probably just that he had barely changed since the last time I saw him 4 years ago. Like he would, bro. This time he didn't rise from his seat, nor did he offer to shake my hand. He just doesn't know him, right? He's like, who are you?
今日はどうしました?
And unlike the dream, he didn't seem especially happy to see me again. Yeah, bro, he's doing his job.
西条です。
ん? おお、これはご丁寧に。高階です。はじめまして。
He's like, you don't remember me? He bowed his head cheerfully. I was lost for words. Hajimemashite. That was what he just said. I feel like here, it's a pleasure to meet you. Maybe pleased to make your acquaintance would be a better way to say it, in the sense that, like, it would necessarily imply the first meeting, the way that Hajime Master also definitely does apply a first meeting / introduction, but I guess they say it's time for introductions before that. I truly believe that Dr. Takashi, of all people, would remember me. I mean, I said he would, but also he's just kind of like I'm sure you look different, so... But I guess the name, anyway. Maybe that was arrogant, but I'd hoped for it all the same. So my heart was overwhelmed with loneliness and emptiness when those expectations were smashed to pieces. Felt like my very existence was being denied. Dr. Takashi started talking to me while making eye contact, but I averted my eyes.
無遊病かどうか調べてほしいと書いてあるが、何かあったのかな?
Right, I'd written that on the questionnaire, but it was all meaningless now. He didn't remember me at all. Don't go crazy, bro. Get diagnosed. We can fix you yet.
別にいいじゃん。
Thank you, Sarah. This is a different look. Can I... Hold on. There we go. You're getting me in trouble with these, like, outfits. But then again, if the Rihanna work music video can stay up, this can stay up.
先生が覚えてようが覚えてなかろうが関係ないっしょ。最初の目的を忘れちゃダメ。
This reminds me of, like, I think it may have been a Tumblr post that was like, you gotta let sometimes things just speak to your particular, like, if you're broken in a particular way, it doesn't really, like, even if it's a crazy way to fix you, it doesn't matter. If imagining Naruto telling you to brush your teeth makes you brush your teeth, then you should do it. Like, this reminds me of that, but, like, I don't know what you call this. It's like an imaginary friend type situation, but if it works for you, it works for you type situation. Anyway. Oh, right. I hadn't come here to meet Dr. Takashina. I'd come here to prove that I was a completely healthy and sane human being. I got news for you about that, buddy. Our reunion was merely a bonus. Who gives a shit if he'd forgotten me? If Seratan hadn't stepped in and given me that advice, I would have come dangerously close to losing sight of myself. Yeah.
自分でも知らないうちに外に出かけててパソコンで文章打っててそれを全く覚えてないなんて
He's such a nervous
ありえ
wreck.
ますか
He is such a nervous wreck. Jesus Christ.
知り合いからそう指摘されて混乱しちゃって
その知り合いの人が冗談を言っているっていう可能性はあると思うかい?
Well, the evidence is real. Yua's eyes had been serious, hadn't looked at all like she was messing with me. At the very least, I had noted that Yua believed what she said.
わかりません
なるほど。ちなみに、その知り合いとはどういう関係だろう? 恋人?
I feel like this is not the kind of question that a doctor would ask immediately. Or maybe it's in the, like, prescribed questionnaire. Is there a lot of scorned lovers' quarrels that, like, trick people into thinking they're going crazy? I'm sure it happens, but... Thank you. Where the hell did that come from? What did it have to do with anything? Was I missing something?
いや、言い方が悪かったかな。じゃあ言い直そう。その知り合いの人は、君が意識もないまま歩き回っているのを実際に目撃したのかな?
Yes and no. Evidence of absence is not evidence of absence. I fucked up that real bad. So that was what he meant. I shook my head. I hope this doesn't end with you're fine, go back. I hope there's at least a little bit more thoroughness.
じゃあ証拠はないわけだ。
I once again shook my head.
そいつ探偵気取りっていろいろ証拠を突きつけてきて
Something else is surely you can diagnose the other parts.
そういうことか。ちなみにこれまでにも無遊病の兆候はあったかい?
いえ。
朝目覚めたらいつものベッドじゃなくて違う場所で寝てたっていうことは過去に一度でもあった?
This is an interesting, I guess, like, in this sense, because even though this is Japan, this is like a Western versus Eastern, in the philosophical school of thought sense difference of, like, medical approaches, right? But I don't know enough about the matter to make anything more than broad stroke sweeping claims.
じゃあその知り合いに言われたのが初めてっていうことだね。
After nodding weakly, I steeled myself and spoke.
僕、寝てないんです。
もしかして怖いのかな。 でもそんなに深刻になる必要はないよ。
How does he know?
いや、
That's not what I meant. But I couldn't figure out how to explain it. It was too late to say it out loud anymore. I was too flustered. Bro's nervous with his primary care physician or whatever. Fair enough. After scribbling something on a medical form, Dr. Takashino swiveled away from me in his chair and leaned forward toward the back of the
葉月
examination
君
room.
ちょっと。
はい
Made Hazuki wear glasses. Oh shit, was this the Megane decision? Did I affirm that I get to choose? I got an achievement for it, but she looks great with glasses, and I support this vision. Glasses are moe. You heard it here first. No, it's not just because I wear them. Yeah, it's just like, it's free money. It's literally like underwear for the face, if you think about it that way. Don't think about it too much, but if you see my vision, you understand exactly what I mean. You know? You take it off and you're nervous, you look all different. What had that been about? The doctor turned back toward my puzzled self. In a gentle voice, he began to explain to me how sleepwalking worked. Can we get like a diagnosis of other shit that's going on in this guy's life? Because I reckon that's what's up. When a person falls asleep, they first begin non-REM sleep before eventually progressing to REM sleep. Yeah. Non-REM sleep is a deep sleep where the brain hibernates and brain activity ceases. Rapid eye movement, REM. Meanwhile, REM sleep is a kind of sleep where the body is resting, but the brain is active in a state that's fairly close to being awake.
無遊病はノンレム睡眠の時に起きやすいって言われてる。脳が通常の活動をしていないから普通の受け答えとかは成立しにくいけど、ちゃんと返事もするし、階段などを踏み外さずに上り下りすることだってできる。
I wonder if there's a, like, what Quebec/Quebec, I don't know, how do you pronounce Quebec? I'm just gonna say what they do for the French language. How they go even further above and beyond what France does in terms of quote-unquote language preservation, where they actively avoid using an English phrase for something and they try to invent a French way to say it, such that everything remains French. How their stop signs are still in French instead of in English, for instance, and how they go... I'm stealing this from Northern Lions' description of Juste Orange, but there must be a school of, like, traditionalists/nationalists/ I don't know what you would call them. Maybe it's not even related to that and they just like the language. But, you know, optimism. Where every single loan word and, like, foreign imported concept and phrase, they make it their life's mission to, like, Japaneseify it completely. Where someone would, instead of saying non-REM, they would actually try to, like, make a Japanese phrase for everything, even if it was contrived. I feel like half of like colloquial modern Japanese is probably loan words anyway, to be honest with you. To the point where the language that if you're learning Japanese from like materials and textbooks, you go to Japanese and they're like, huh? And then you speak English and they're like, oh, I understand. I don't understand English, but the loan word overlap is you got to combine your English with your Japanese buddies. Like I didn't know how to do all that anyway.
原因としては精神的なストレスを抱えてる時になりやすいんだ。子供に多い症状だけど成人でもよくある症状なんだよ。これで分かっただろ。深刻になることはないって言った意味が。
But I hadn't been sleeping. Even though I hadn't been sleeping, I'd still done things I didn't remember. But he's not going to mention that because he's intimidated now, though. Hold on. I got a bag of chips, and I may eat. It may be time to tap the fuck into this bag of chips. Alright. Give me a couple. I just need a couple to keep my tongue excited, you know. Don't worry about phrasing and that. Oh, yeah, Stewbar Run first episode came out. I gotta check. Hmm. 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 Anyway, the time Shogun had been posting from 37 in the chat room should have been when I was busy playing ESO. Could sleepwalking really be possible there? I wanted to ask him that, but he was already moving to a different topic.
無遊病かどうかを調べる方法としてはいくつかある。一番手っ取り早いのはここのベッドで寝てもらうことだね。
Plus, two, they'd be like, ain't no way there's enough beds in here to have that happen. You could do sleep trials and stuff.
ただ特定条件じゃないと発生しない場合もあるかもしれない。例えば自分のベッドじゃないとダメとか。意識がない状態で出歩くにしても目的もなくふらふらと歩き続けるのか。それとも何らかの強迫観念があってそれに影響されて何らかの一連の目的を持って出歩いているのか。
That one sounds applicable.
それに君の精神状態についても特定の条件下じゃないとダメかもしれない。自宅のベッドの上ならリラックスできるけどここじゃリラックスのしようがないわけだ。どうする？とりあえず寝ていってみるかい？
Okay, I'm gonna be honest about this. I could easily be wrong because I'm just speaking out my ass. Just no sure. Like, how would he just fall asleep here? Like, I don't know what. This can't be the medically appropriate method. Surely, if that was the case, they would have like more equipment / a different place for it. Then, oh yeah, just take a nap here. Don't worry about all the people in the damn lobby. I guess if he was waiting for 3 hours, maybe he's the last patient, and then he's being taken in for an overnight stay. Maybe that's what's going on here. I had nothing to lose, so I didn't see a reason not to try. Then after I proved I wasn't sleepwalking, I could try asking the real question I had in mind. Unless there's like another thing that I just haven't explained yet. The nurse from before, Hanzuki-san something, guided me over to the hospital bed located at the back of the room. As it wasn't a bed meant for sleeping, it was firm and uncomfortable. Sometimes those hit hard, though. And then again, considering the sofa I usually slept on, they shouldn't pose any problems for me. It's got a stiff sofa, not like one of those sinking sofas.
3時間くらいしたら起こしに行きますから。
She's so cute. Love this design. Haduki. This nurse was pretty damn cute. Thank you for saying. As I lied on the bed, I took a quick peek at her face while being careful to avoid eye contact. We can get another delusion that I would definitely say yes to, please. Her baby face made her look kind of unreliable, and she even had this almost despondent aura about her, but she was doing her job pretty well. She does look sort of... She's like one step away from yearning slash, you know, deer in the headlights type of eyes. You know, oh, am I doing this right type of person. Yeah. But she could easily switch to, like, you know, in control, I feel like. She felt like a heroine... Why do I say that as if it was Japanese? Right out of a classic eroge. One with kinky hospital sex. Fuhihi.
できるだけ目は離さないようにしていますので、安心して眠ってくださいね。
The true fantasy is that any nurse would be... I guess there are some that's, like, nice, polite... Actually, never mind. I'm thinking back to my recent experience, there are actually probably more polite nurses than not, but the... I guess because he's in high school, she probably looks at that. Like, I feel like once you're no longer a member of the, like... Yeah, I feel like the older you get, the more they're just sort of all business with you, you know? She's probably only kind to him because of that. It's probably like a 10+ year gap. Basically, if symptoms of sleepwalking occurred, like I started wandering around on my own, she'd make sure I didn't get hurt or anything. Is he supposed to fall asleep or are they going to give him drugs?
それではごゆっくり。
Small smile. Her angle of being drawn gives her like that the bug-eyed look that they have in classics. So I see what he's talking about there. Now surrounded by a pure white curtain, I took a deep breath. Yeah, how is he supposed to go to sleep with all of these noises? Could I actually fall asleep like this? Figuring I had nothing to lose, I closed my eyes, and I saw the devil. No matter what I did, my mind refused to think of anything other than that corpse that had been massacred and crucified with sticks, as well as the gory pictures Shogun had sent me. So I forcibly conjured Seratan into my head. Sean Conrad. I forcibly conjured Seratan into my head. Yes. A billion times yes.
タッキー、外出嫌いなのに病院来るなんてすごい。
Always yes. Always imagine Seratan. So, this eye is way smaller than this. I don't know what's going on with that. Don't worry about it. Yes.
私前から思ってたんだけどさ、タッキーって実はすごく強い男の子だよね。
Sora animatedly moved about in my delusion. Her cute voice chirped for me.
私、そんなタッキーの強さがそれにタッキーは無遊病なんかじゃないよ。私毎日タッキーのこと見てるもん。だからわかるさ。
I just like hearing that noise for a
三
second.
次元女になんか騙されちゃダメだぞ。タッキーには私がいるっしょ。
Righto.
またあのコンテナハウスで二人きりで過ごそうね。ボケなす。
Okay, am I crazy? I feel like I should say no to this. I feel like I want to actually find out, and I feel like she's actually distracting me from finding out. For once, I forgot to save, now that I'm thinking about it. Hopefully saving here would not cause us any problems. But I wanna... This is my first no. Seratan, you're so cute, Seratan. She really was my ideal waifu. There wasn't a single woman better than her. I can think of some. 3D, the fuck was that? I want to go home already. I want to go home and have Seratan welcome me back with a smile. She's already welcoming you back, bro. She's not real. She's welcoming you back the same way. I guess spiritually, the welcoming back is different though. Wait for me, okay, Seratan? I'll be coming home soon. Okay, something still happened. She opened the door to the examination room and was greeted by the doctor's smiling face.
今日はどうしました？
Am I losing my mind? Or one of us is losing our minds here. Ignoring the question, she examined her surroundings. The examination room was not particularly large. Atop the doctor's desk sat one blank medical chart, then another that was filled out in a language that was not Japanese. English, I have to imagine? They called her a demon. Everyone did, even her own parents. This is very different. Had she always been a demon, or did everyone calling her one cause her to become one? After all this time, it did not matter to her either way. Regardless, she had slaughtered 8 people over the past month or so. Okay. She was a demon after all. It was nothing but numbers to her.
もし気になるものがあるなら言ってください。どうかしますから。
He was very sensitive to the needs of his patients, something befitting of a psychiatrist. Finding this truly heartwarming, she opened the bag she had brought along, and from that bag she slowly took out. So, assuming that this is also a delusion, in the negative affirmation, so if he neglects to imagine Seratan, I'm just trying to not imagine, but understand how it actually works. By clicking no here, what I've done is, like, imagine what my mind is actually imagining, or does it just work differently every time? Is it like at random bag? Are we re-rolling this, basically? Knife, probably. Yes, a 24 centimeter long kitchen knife.
それとももっと広い部屋にか
The doctor cut his offer short upon seeing the knife. His face stiffened. Sensing his terror, she gave a gentle smile. The doctor would be the 9th. He had not been her intended target, but she might as well make the most of the opportunity. So she's here to kill Takumi, is what he is imagining, I think. Placing her bag on the ground, she approached the doctor with, why is this quote in quotes but not this? Which means that one specific word in the original script is in like quotes, and I wonder which it is. Then maintaining her fierce momentum, she flew through the doctor's chest and plunged the knife deep inside. Dead. Slipped past his ribcage, reaching his heart. He dead. The single thrust had dispelled the end of the doctor's life. There got a sax in the back of this track. The doctor, now no more than an object to her, collapsed against her body. For a moment she supported it so that she could remove the knife, and then when she was done she knocked the object away with her elbow. No, cute nurse. The object was lying face up on the floor. Its white coat dyed a deep crimson. The nurse be screaming. In one large step, she trampled over the doctor's corpse. Now you recognize it as the doctor's corpse, and slashed at the nurse with the knife. Fresh blood danced through the air. While it was no fatal wound, it likely etched a rough scar on the docile-looking nurse's face. Docile? She clutched at her face and crashed to the floor. Oceans of blood spilled out from the gaps between her fingers. Ignoring this, she continued toward the back of the examination room. The 10th would not be the nurse. It was a momentous occasion. The 10th, double digits. So it had to be the target she had originally come for. Everything around her was house. The other patients and nurses had long since screamed and ran away, but she did not lend an ear to their cries. She simply searched for him, someone who was most definitely there. Her eyes stopped at a curtain. Yes, it contained a bed. There you are. Her heart trembled with jubilation. The sheer thought of killing him made her nether regions grow hot. Based? That one slipped out. I don't know what she meant by that. I'm covering bases. I knew exactly what she meant by that. Yo, I like this, like, what they've done with the art here. She slowly closed the gap between her and the curtain. Then instead of opening it normal, she slashed it open with the knife. Is he asleep? He was lying on the bed just as she expected him to be. Mitsuki. Now that she had seen him, she could not contain herself any longer. Is she gonna, you know... He was sleeping with a slightly pained expression on his face. She combed her fingers through his hair, stroking it ever so gently. He did not awaken. Gripping the knife with both hands with an underhand grip, she raised her arms high above. Her target was simple, his heart. With a single thrust, just like the doctor before you, I'll put you to rest. Overwrought with feelings of pure rapture, with every ounce of strength she had, she swung down the knife. Oh, okay. I sprang up, only to find myself on the bed like before. My heart was pounding like crazy. Check my chest. There was no wound anywhere, nor was there any blood. I was unharmed. Yes, I have to mention that was the case. When I opened it, I saw the as in like in your mind's eye.
夢
They're not actually
だよな。
lying there covered in blood. I couldn't work up the courage to open the curtain. What if there was a sea of blood right past it? What if the demon girl was standing there holding a knife? The terror of those thoughts completely incapacitated me. Then right at that moment... Hello. Okay, well that's gonna cause concern, I think, in the right way. I think they should be concerned. The curtain was opened from the outside. I couldn't help but scream and I tumbled off the bed.
大丈夫ですか？
I timidly looked up at her. Well, she's feeling protective of this useless guy, which is, you know, if only, lucky bastard is all I could say. Hazuki-san was looking down at me with wide eyes, no normal width. Her white coat had no trace of blood and her face didn't have any stab wounds
ご
either.
めんなさい。驚かせてしまって。起きているとは思わなかったので。
いや、いえ。
Hi, yeah. God, I was pathetic. With my head still hanging down, I sluggishly rose to my feet. My heart was beating out of my chest, and it just wouldn't stop. But thank God it had just been a dream. It'd been just a dream. It was like watching a horror movie. Except you were the horror movie. He's not, but... Hazuki-san. Is it really a D or a Z? I guess D is that... The... Is it Z? No. It is the... Anyway, I felt beyond embarrassed. I couldn't look up at her. Just nodding was the best I could do.
少しうなされていたみたいでしたけど。
怖い夢を見て。
Aww. Do you want to find comfort in her bosom?
そう。
What time was it? How long had I slept for? Surprisingly enough, I pulled 3 hours.
でも、無遊病の症状は結局出ませんでしたよ。
Her reassuring voice conveyed
まあ、
that to me.
今日はたまたま症状が出なかっただけかもしれないから、無遊病でないっていう断定はできないですけど。
I mean, I feel like this is not a very, like, medically appropriate scientific method to determine. I guess it's one of those, like, it feels like the kind of thing that you would do in, like, the 1900s. Early. You know? Like, oh, you got sleepwalking symptoms. Yes. Well, we could try and why don't you have a sleep out over there, and we'll observe you, and well, you know, it doesn't seem like... No, I really don't think I'm a sleepwalker, so more importantly, I had to ask the doctor that really important question. But I think the doctor's still going to be there. But I couldn't see him anywhere. So I looked around. Hazuki-san handed me a blank form. Yes, I did unmute to the... Don't worry about all that. I took it from her and ran my eyes over it. It was a
それ
fill-in-the-blank
は
style
あなた
form.
の心理状態を把握するためのチェックシートです。心理テストのようなものね。それを書いてくれたら今日はもう帰っていいって先生が。
Okay, but if on the checklist you were like, I am crazy, I am insane, this is really bad for me, would they still let him go home? Am I...
先生は。
ごめんなさい。ずっと診察が続いてて。
Yeah, obviously. Come on, you've never been to a hospital before.
来週まで様子を見て、まだ改善が見られないようならもう一度来て
I
くだ
got
さい。
I got a bad feeling that I don't know if we're guaranteed to make it next week. Then again, it wasn't like he was my primary physician or anything, I suppose. Isn't that what he... I guess he dreamed that part. He'd probably just given Hazuki-san a bunch of directions to get me out of here. Well, I guess that meant there'd been pretty much no point in me coming to the hospital today. I really wanted to ask Dr. Takashina about the someone that wasn't me controlling me. Whatever it meant, it was a really chilling symptom, so I didn't want to leave without getting an answer. Well, you can ask her. Although she'll probably be like, I'm not able to give you medical advice. That being said, I didn't have the courage to demand Hazuka-san bring him back to see me, especially when she already looked so apologetic. Reluctantly, I decided to give the test a try. Are we gonna get to choose it? That would be really fun if we get to do the checklist, but I feel like that would be a bit much. Like, what would they even do with it? I guess I'd write about my symptoms on the back of the sheet or something? If I did that, I should be able to get another examination scheduled for next week.
チェックシートは質問に対してイエスかノーかだけを答える簡単なものです。当てはまる点があったらイエスにチェックしてくださいね。
Tutorial
今後
agents
の
be
西
like,
条さんの治療に対する参考にしますから、じっくり考えて答えてください。
Hazuki-san went out of her way to explain the procedure thoroughly. The test has some strange questions mixed in, ones you wouldn't normally expect to run into at a hospital. I wonder if there's actually truly... Give me an example. Can I get an example? You're just gonna say that shit, bro. It really did seem like some sort of personality test. Would they really be able to actually learn something from questions like these? What? She stared at me intently. She loves me. She was monitoring. No, watching over me or something. She was just doing her job, but I was nervous, because cute girl. I would be nervous. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I'm gonna click them all. Okay, first things first, obviously we save here. So, second, I got 3 options here. Option number 1, answer as Takumi would answer. 4 options now. Option number 2, answer what I think is true of Takumi. Number 3, answer what I would answer. Number 4, click them all. I don't know which to pick. Okay, this is an interesting set of options. Okay, you know what? For once, I'm gonna let me try answering it as myself, just to see, like, if it's an interesting answer for the purposes of okay, there's a lot. Let's see. Would you have business to take care of? You prefer to use emails over phone calls? Sure. Your ears ring every now and then. Yes, man. It's called... Well, everyone has these days. You have felt someone's gaze and turned around before. Can I be honest with you? I don't think I have. I don't think it's ever been, like... I get it, but I don't think not in this sense. I feel like I shouldn't click this. You have seen objects that are supposedly stationary move for an instant. No. You've experienced a premonition. Also no. When looking at a digital clock and passing, you've seen the same numbers appear in sequence. I mean, yes, but like I've been alive long enough to see time pass at the same hours and minutes. So not in like a crazy sense, you know? You've already cried once this month. Actually, I don't think so. You can masturbate using only your imagination, obviously. You can visualize uninterrupted imagery, unless someone interrupts me. Yeah, of course, man. I didn't realize that people had such limited imaginations until I started talking to people and seeing people post about it online. You can daydream without closing your eyes, with effort. The frontal view of a car sometimes looks like a face, depending on the car. You have a hard time going to the bathroom after watching a horror movie. Not at all. Like, sometimes ironically, but like, not seriously. You can't handle haunted houses. I don't think I've ever been to one, but I don't imagine I would have any problem. When you start reading a book, you become so immersed in it that you lose track of time. If it's good, you believe that other planets inhabited by human-like creatures exist. Deep down, maybe. But, like, I don't think it's practical that we're going to end up meeting them if the universe is vast enough. The personality attributed to your astrological sign matches your personality perfectly. Obviously not. You're prone to motion sickness. I don't think I've ever had motion sickness. I've been on boats, I've been on, roller coasters. You believe there is a god. No. You have a strong ability to sense the supernatural. You've dreamed in color before. Conversely, I don't think I've ever dreamed in black and white. You've been in a dream in which you knew you were dreaming. Yes, it's happened. You've experienced memory loss. I mean, like, not explicitly. I have lost memories, but hasn't everyone like forgotten things? I assume that's they mean like in a meaningful, like actual memory loss sense. In which case, no. Hard time making eye contact with people, not particularly. It's sort of it's not something I make an effort to do though. Merely the sight of sour food makes your mouth fill with saliva. No, you feel like you only when other people do. Yeah, it's kind of normal. Okay, that's not nearly as fun as clicking every single option. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna click every single option, but I did it just for the bit of it though. You know what would actually be, I'm sure, but this feels more likely that they would have an option to. Can I put a name on it? I'm gonna click all of them.
はい、お疲れ様でした。
Just because I think that's way more interesting. Thank you very much for your time, she says. Otsukaresama. Despite the fact I hadn't said anything. I felt pretty embarrassed to be washed out. She reads this and like, in your imagination, huh? Do it right now. Fortunately, it's not that kind of game. Because of that, I avoided looking at Hazuki-san when I had another test. There had been no time to write my symptoms on the back. I think you ticked it off.
それでは待合室でお待ちください。お薬が出てますから。
They got medicine already, huh?
薬
They were prescribing me something. Dr. Takashino never said anything about that. If only it was so easy to get prescribed medicine, buddy.
ええ、先生の指示で
Oh, okay. It's like a
弱い精神安定剤です。ぐっ
like
す
an
り眠れるようになる
over-the-counter.
し、副作用などもありま
What's
せん
it?
よ。
Which quill? I don't know. I'm not an American, so. Hmm. I'm seeing some nice, wholesome posts about neighbors sharing food on or after Eid. I don't know how the operation of that specific bit works though, but I like the food posting. If the world was just food posting, I think we would solve most problems. And yet, when I realized I would have to wait in that lobby again, my mood was immediately sent spiraling. What time is it, bro? You slept. You waited 3 hours and then slept 3 hours. It's been 6 hours since he was here initially. Value of death. Life is suffering caused by desire. To end the suffering, we must end desire. Power lines. Shibuya Station. This does seem like the kind of shit that would just be on some random board, bro. By the time I'd gotten back to Shibuya, it was already evening. The hospital was technically in Shibuya, but since Yoyogi was the closest station to it, commuting via train was the fastest. But the Yamanote line had been as crowded as ever, and despite only being 2 stops long, the trip back still made me incredibly tired. Riding the train any farther would have been a pain in the ass. So I decided to get off at Shibuya Station and make my way back to base from there. Even then, there were still tons of people outside the station. I despised crowds. They made my head spin. Not wanting to stay much longer, I tried to speed walk out of the scramble crossing, but even walking straight was nigh impossible. Stumbling even slightly caused people from both behind and front to bump into me. I mean, if you stumble in a crowd of people, obviously they're gonna bump into you. A bunch of people handing out pocket tissue packs blocked the way. What was the Bruno pocket? Is that a thing? I don't... Is that a thing that people do? Fed up with everything, I ignored the first person handing them out, but I took some of the second, because at least she was a cute girl. I mean, that's kind of, What do they say? Sex sells? Sex sell? I mean, I think that's the opposite of the suffix. Anyway, I was so sick and tired of these people handing out tissue packs and shit to push their products. Didn't they have anything better to do than stand right in the middle of the road? I mean, that's a job, buddy. It was free, so I might as well take it. Paragraphs worth of shit inside the tissue pack. I didn't think of the marketing something inside a tissue pack is kind of something. I bought noodles recently from, I forget I think it was a Shin brand, but they had they said Esper card inside. I was like, it's been so long since I've seen a product that has like a little collectible inside. It's like a throwback to a better time in which consuming, like, shopping for shit was actually kind of interesting. Like in a nostalgic sense. I don't think it was really, sure, it was more of the same. But it's nice to get like a little trinket. I feel like that doesn't happen these days. Talk about ostentatious, he said. Type B blood is in short supply. Okay, it's like a medical donation thing. Blood donation flyer. Type B blood. Interesting. Maybe the way they examine patients have changed recently. The masturbation questions are very interesting. I hope we get, like... Did we walk into the one crazy part of the ward? Something felt oddly familiar about the test. What do you mean? Deja vu. I'd been getting hit by it all the time recently. Having my mind and body not function the way I wanted them to, the sense of dissonance was an incredibly uncomfortable feeling. So in order to ascertain the true cause behind the deja vu, I tried flipping back through the pages of my memories. Thought back to when Mom had taken me to the hospital about once a week. I had kept my mouth shut at all times and only expressed myself via nodding or shaking my head. Different room before long. Essentially a counseling room. They tried alternate methods of healing, with sofas and plushies and whatnot. A very patient approach to treating his patient. They didn't say that, but I took the liberty of making the joke for them. All while refusing to blame my situation on anyone. He alone caught on to how I was merely choosing not to speak, rather than having the inability to do so. My mom would always talk to me in an unnaturally cheery voice. The doctor would always welcome me with a refreshing smile. The nurses treated me with all the love and the care they could, and I had a feeling that there had always been one more person in the room. His sister, or... Oh yeah, the Men in Black person. That's his mother, I think. She's always wearing gloves. I mean, they did say that she was overprotective. So maybe this is like a, germophobic, paranoid type of person. We got... He looks kind of like Professor Oak in face. I don't know. We got I don't know if two concerned nurses was necessary, but anyway, and I did note that guy. I never asked about him. Didn't know who the hell he was the entire time he was there. Didn't feel like a doctor, and he always stood alone, all alone, a fair distance away from everyone else, all gazing out the window. I had a Mr. Nozomi in my head, though that wasn't his actual name or something. Nozomi was the name of the hospital or whatever, right? But that Nozomi was the name on the form.
Nozomi.
The man in the suit always had a badge on his chest number that situation. And on that badge was the word Nozomi. Looked like a logo to me though, so it probably wasn't a name tag. Yeah, exactly. It was on the test. What was Nozomi? Pretty sure it was the name of the business. You got phones now, right?
のぞみさんっていう美人女社長が設立したカウンターテロ組織とか、漫画みたいだ。
Okay. Kurenai Biru. We're back. Nozomi. So many results that I couldn't manage to pin down anything specific. Let's go with the more normal theory first. It could have just been from the company that made the test and he was at the hospital to sell them or something. But then why was he there for you specifically? The hospital had then adopted the test recently and they had to have me fill out one today. Maybe they were experimenting on a treatment method, but more likely there's like a government conspiracy. I'm talking plot-wise. I'd never heard of some rando attending a patient's examination like that. He could have been shadowing the doctor for organizational purposes. Memories kept pulling at my mind, but I was fed up with it at that point. Either way, the reason behind my deja vu was not clear. I decided that I'd ask Dr. Takashina about my memory issues next week, but until then I was going to stay cooped up in my room without bothering with school. Surely, what about your minimum attendance plan, though? There's no way in hell I'd go to a school where people were trying to hurt me. In all honesty, wait, who's trying to hurt him? Oh, does he mean the, like, killer with the uniform, or does he mean you are? I don't think he's really trying to hurt him. In all honesty, I really don't want to screw up the minimum tennis charter so carefully constructed, but it wasn't worth getting myself killed over. At channel surfing. New Gen News Bearer. Croc fiction. With the ESO boards at rest, let's try and replicate New Gen crimes in ESO. Does that kind of thing even happen anymore in any game? I guess there's no culture in which that would matter anyway. I feel like you're not gonna go in Fortnite and do this kind of thing, so it's not gonna. I don't think the bit works. Anyway, the one animation they made for this game. I found Grim. Like, what do you mean found? Oh shit, they have another background. Why did it? Do I get to play? Oh no, here we go. The action on YouTube is super fucking boring recently. They really won't shut the fuck up about New Gen. Well, it is the biggest thing I know recently. Whenever a new incident like this happens, people always freak the fuck out about it. Shitstorm and cunt, lol. He's gonna ask her about his girlfriend, no? You are. I mean, they haven't caught the culprit. I mean, you and I both know the police are incompetent, lol. There's tons of idiots all over Terweb painting the culprit as some more hot chick, lol. Bad news for you, buddy. That's the truth. That demon girl. Does he know? Did he say this? Like, does Grim know? I'm concerned. The desolate eyes of the guard seeing the crucifixion murder scene flashed through my mind. I felt a shiver run down my spine. The ghastly memory would come back any time I let my guard down. Rusted, I didn't want to get involved. Should I report it to the police? Come on, buddy. Is the Orient offshoot of the perp like that? That might be taking a bit too far, TBH. Anyway, these new gen cases are really interesting, dude. I've joined the Furibara new gen community. You're getting way too into this. Everyone but you and Sissen from our guild has joined. Who is Sissen? Was he serious? Nah, I wouldn't be able to hop on a chat with my guild anymore. New gen is some weird shit, man. It gives me the chills. I knew you were into gory stuff, Grim, but don't tell me you're the type that looks for artistic merit in murder cases. I mean, getting obsessed over serial killings and murder cases is like, I mean, we've got true crime podcasts now, bro. It's like commodified to the extreme. Of course, it'd be fair to say that it was artistic in some sense. The crucifixion corpse. I mean, it is kind of modern art. If you, what was the other? What show was it where they were talking about like the serial killers in modern art? Might have been Bungo Stray Dogs. I forget about what happened in that apart from the ending part. I'm unfamiliar. That was a pretty good anime though. I liked it. Nah man, the only thing you should be seeking here is how lewd it is. That's like the ultimate form of BDSM. Oh hell no. This guy damn that quite You get it once you leave behind your virginhood. You lowly bastard. Are you saying you're not a virgin? You damn traitor. Oros. I know Oros, bro. You don't need to tell me. Back on topic, though. They're pulling all the info together. It's filled to the brim, so you really ought to take a look. It's only been 3 killings. It can't be that much. I wanted to escape the reality in which I witnessed the scene of the crime. That's why I'd intently been avoiding all info related to New Gen. Put myself into believing that the gruesome scene had been just a delusion, but I was basically a god in ESO. Not just someone strong, but someone who knew all. Non-comprende. What do you mean by this? How does this follow? Oh, okay. Like, If everyone in your guild is talking about it, you can't wuss out now, is what you mean. Okay. Click the link to the site Grim sent me. All things new gen. Basically like a wiki. I know what a wiki is, buddy. But I don't know the etymological origin of that, to be honest. In case this new gen site, lots of people entered info concerning new gen on the site, updated as they did. Sites like these could tend to suffer from unreliable info and vandalism from trolls, but useful for a quick overview. Current timeline. Palms are sweaty, knees weak. Is this supposed to be a face? I'm trying to figure out how this would work as a face. Want the general news? +2. New, hold on. Bookmarks, news site templates, everyday budiburi. Ikongitun kon. Good come hikiniki sharin diary. I love Futanari. Homo station. Zam. Krusty Panties Paradise. Nyuki moon. Okay. Well, first incident, dubbed the Group Dive, was the suicide of 5 high schoolers that had jumped to their deaths. It happened in the dead of night on September 7th. 6-7? No. 9-7. Which was about a month ago at this point. The building they jumped off of was Cornelius Tower, which was located in Shibuya. They dove off the rooftop helipad, of course. All 5 had died instantly. According to the autopsy, the 5 all had foreign pieces of flesh under their fingernails, along with various scratch marks on their hands. Based on that, it was surmised that the 5 had been holding hands as they jumped for one reason or another. No suicide note. One of those people acting like Snake. Bro said Snake? Interesting spot for a reference to Snake, to be honest. Actually gone to Cornelius Tower themselves and said the door was locked 24/7, locked at the time of the incident, and the key was not found. Locked room puzzle, huh? Well, I mean, it's a helipad. I can riddle you this one. But I guess you would probably notice if there was a damn helicopter there. High chance that someone other than the 5 had been present at the scene of the incident. Second incident, dubbed the man-child murder case. Oh yeah, this was the fetus stuffed into a man situation, right? A uni student on their way home from karaoke had discovered a collapsed man covered in blood. Shibuya underpass, by the way. 21-year-old named Konoe Chizuo, already dead when he was discovered, but his abdomen had an unnaturally large swelling. Performed an abdominal incision on the man, stuffed a newly born fetus inside the man's stomach, then stitched it back up. No blood relation to the victim. He was a bachelor and had no holes whatsoever, which is relevant, I guess. It was only online specific speculation, but it was assumed that 32-week-old fetus had been removed from its mother's body via C-section. Was there a recently dead mother? Like, I'm trying to figure out, obviously it has to have come from someone, right? Well, yeah, okay, all completely unknown. Nothing publicly revealed, at least. And then the third one, of course, talk about nauseating. The culprit was completely insane, and maybe these ghastly murders have been carried out by that girl. It reminds me kind of Seven, the movie. Like the 7 sins. Or, I forget, it was like crimes to expose the hypocrisy of humanity or whatever. Maybe it was Psychopaths? Something like this. I like that. Japan is over. Banzai. I stared at Seiratan in an attempt to bleach my eyes. How would that? I somehow managed to stabilize my mental state. I considered taking the meds the doctor would give me, but Seiratan did the job nonetheless. That might have been necessary to mention the Neidhart's honor. Reading all that gory stuff really fucking sucked. We didn't even get a choice for this delusion.
そんなに辛いならさ、読まなくていいって。
We're on a forced delusion?
タッキーがド M ってんなら別に止めないけど。
He might be, I think.
辛そうなタッキーは見てられないさ。もうやめよう。楽しいことだけしてようよ。
True.
いつもみたく私にハーハーしてもいいからさ。
I think it was they're more explicit here than they were. I guess it was the level of explicitness has translated anyway. How wonderful and caring you are, Seiratan. Seiratan was the only one who would stay by my side. I couldn't ask for a better waifu. Amen. But why did you imagine her at the scene of the crime, bro? I rested my chin on my hands above the table, watching Seiratan smile as I took deep breaths. Oh, my soul had been healed. I might be able to get through a little more if I kept glancing at her as I read, and so I decided to put that into practice right away. Come to think of it, why had those two unrelated cases both been slapped with the New Gen label? Part of the group dive had initially been treated as a group suicide, but after the man-child incident, a couple people online reinvestigated it and discovered the unnatural circumstances surrounding the scene of the crime. Rumors then began to appear saying the five had men actually been killed and that the suicide label was merely a cover-up. There was no way it could have been suicide. Then the mass media made connections, starting with the location, Shibuya. Yeah. The new generational madness. Sensationalist headlines. And the third case, a murder case I had witnessed. 56-year-old Ota Hisashi was a university professor who had been crucified with stakes to the concrete wall of a vacant house. All that had been publicly revealed. Neighboring residents claimed that for over an hour after the time the crime was thought to have occurred, around 8 p.m., they could have sound of nails being hammered into something. Even I'd heard the sound. I could hear it even now, a horrible, terrifying sound. On a related note, no connection between the third case and the group dive or the man-child had been discovered yet. But it was just naturally treated as another New Gen incident. Third abnormal incident in the same place, basically. The police believed that it was different culprits, but the online opinion was that it was a conspiracy, single person or group. Many occult-based theories, such as everything began with the earthquake. 3. 8 fatalities for 3 is kind of crazy. Come to think of it, it was true that the New Gen cases had begun after that. Yeah, obviously, factually. The New Gen occultists, because that one you can't really say it was caused necessarily. Slave God is funny. By a killer, right? The New Gen occultists and the New Gen mainstreamers. Regardless, the entire situation was abnormal. After all, despite the fact that 3 brutal cases occurred in quick succession, no clues on any of the culprits had been found, and many online were waiting eagerly for a 4th case. If I wasn't directly connected to it all, I probably would have joined in on the chaos myself, posted in a few threads, made a few theories. I could have been waiting excitedly for the 4th incident at this very moment. Damn it, all these assholes were just having the time of their lives, weren't they?
犯人を早く捕まえてくれよ。
You could help out with that, buddy, but... Wicked past since the crucifixion, but neither the demon girl nor the police had made any moves. If they knew I'd seen the crime, they would definitely come and question me about it, but there hadn't been any signs of that actually happening. Thank God. It looked like I wasn't going to get dragged into this after all.
あなたには予知能力がありますか？
How does she... The fact that she came to that conclusion is what's baffling me the most. It feels like an unnatural conclusion to come to so quickly. She must know more. That claim you had thrust at me flashed into my
予知能
mind.
力があるって思わなきゃ納得できないような画像データをあなたが持っていたから。
Hold on, I was doing some clicking. Even though it finally started to relax, that feeling of, sorry, say that again, despair, came flying right back in an instant. The image sent by Shogun, the data was still on my PC. Yua's claims were no more than delusions she'd dreamt up. Her deductions were total strange, not to mention logically bankrupt. Well, I might have not ended up asking about it at the hospital today. The idea of me doing things without remembering them was completely absurd, utterly impossible, and yet, bro. Nothing that had ever happened to me before. It was obviously faked, and yet, bro.
だったらさ、合成だって証拠を見つけちゃえばいいさ。
At least Sierra is not just telling him ignore it all the time, to be honest with you. He needs the Sierra is helping him think.
あの画像解析しちゃおうよ。
That's so disgusting. I really don't want to look at it any more than I already
あ
have.
の女を論破しちゃえば、タッキーはもう怯えることなく平穏な生活に戻れるんだよ。やるしかないっしょ。
She was exactly right. Yua had talked to me as if I were the culprit behind the crucifixion, but that wasn't true at all. I mean, I'd seen the culprit's face, as if I'd let Yua put the blame on me after that. So, with a gulp, I double-clicked on the folder where the images were cached. Okay, I'm gonna save here and terminate. That's a good ending spot, a good transition for the segment. We've done a lot of good work. We saw our first negative delusion, a little slice into the history of Takumi and how he's ended up this way. I'm still a little unsure about whether it's precognition or whether he imagined the interreality, because right now it kind of seems like both elements can have evidence pointing to them. Very unsure. I'm also a fan of what seem to be the minor differences that my other choices are helping me out with. Like the swimsuit and the glasses thing undeniably just have been demonstrated, right? I saw the swimsuit imagination when I imagined Yuma. I seen the nurse's glasses here because I chose the spectacles option. A lot of little nice things like that. That's, and the fact that the questionnaire was actually implemented. I feel like that's what makes some visual novels, makes it feel nice. Like the rewrite, walking around in the area, the mappy segments make it so fun. The Little Busters baseball game, that's a classic, Not that you need it, but I think it just makes it a little bit, it just makes it a little more something, It's a bit of sauce on the meal. But anyway, honestly, I have no idea where we're going with this one. I feel like we're sort of I don't know how we're gonna get really anywhere with this. But it seems like he's sort of being guided to disprove it. At least at this current juncture, we're gonna try and go through with stuff, and I have no idea where we've gone here, by the way. I don't even really know. Ban Yasuji. The police station. Okay, we're getting like an insight into how the police are actually viewing these crimes. Interesting. Okay. But that's gonna be all from me. Honestly, what I'm most happy about from this segment is the negative delusion being so crazy. I'm really excited to not only see what's gonna happen, but eventually go back and see all of the other paths of what could be thought up and how it actually ends up working. Hello, Wormius. Hello. Showing up as I'm about to end not the stream but the marker. I would play some Deadlock. Gotta get some Deadlock in, but thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe for more visual novel Let's Plays. He's done it. The thumbnail's back. Immediate ad. That's so funny. Anyway, subscribe and other shit. See ya.